what things that pop into my head are things like John Kerry flying to Antarctica the day of the 2016 American election, things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And the head of the Russian church went at the same time. And it's like,
Mm.
what were they doing? I mean, you've
Yeah.
researched this, John. What were they doing there?
What were they? Well, I know what they were doing. They're protecting the penguins, mate. That's what they were doing.
Hello, welcome to the Mark Outward Show, Adventures in a Cosmic Suit. How are you today? Hope it's going well wherever you are. Today we're going to talk about books. Don't switch off, it's important. Books are very, very important. I've been going on about this for a number of years. Books are a big part of the information war. Actually, I just received this today, which is the paperback version of my book, God Wins, Spiritual War Poetry, 2020 2022. Yes, which if you're watching this, I just got it. So I'm just doing the check over on that to see if it's good enough to go out. Because I wanted to do a cheaper version of it than what we'd put out before. So books are extremely important. And about a year ago, I interviewed one of my favorite authors, a man called John Hamer, because John Hamer um is the author of The Falsification of History, The Falsification of Science, and a bunch of other books about the Titanic and stuff like that. I'm just trying to work out how to share the screen to show you where to go and see that interview. This is actually the book that I'm going to be talking about today, 60 Degrees South, which John has written with Andy Ross. But if you go to theMarkAttwoodShow.com and type in John Hamer, you'll see we did the Falsification of History interview on the 1st of May 24 and a live Q&A with John on the 15th of June 24, which is also worth watching. As you may or may not know, because of the way that I feel about publishing, when Abby Wynn and I brought out our book, Weapons of Mass Protection, Practical Tools for Spiritual Warfare, we decided to set up a publishing company called 104publishing.com. And you'll see that that's the website, 104publishing.com. There's me and Abby. There's the two books we've published so far on there, Breaking the Silence on the Return of Totalitarianism by Eddie Hobbs. And we also create a course for anybody that wants to be an author who doesn't want to be an Amazon slave. And you can go and join that there if you are interested. That is a really good course that we made over 3 or 4 months last year. Um, but I want to talk about this book here because it's called 60 Degrees South Beyond the Ice Wall, and it's a fiction novel about the truth, well, about Antarctica. But let's get the authors on. I'm pleased to be joined by Andy Ross and John Hamer today, who should be popping into this Zoom room because John can't use StreamYard, so we have to use Zoom, which means that I'm using different software than usual. Hello, Andy Ross. How you doing?
I'm fine, Mark. How are you doing today?
It's great. Yeah, I'm great, and it's great to meet you.
Thank you, and you too.
I've got a bit of wind here, so excuse me if things blow over. John's joining us as well. How you doing, John?
Good, thanks, Mark. You okay?
I'm very well, thank you, and I appreciate you both coming on to talk about this book. I've just told everybody what it's called, um, and I've told them it's a fiction story about Antarctica, but typical John Hamer and Andy, who I've just met today, you've managed to weave in a load of facts about Antarctica that people don't know. Is that right?
Yeah, that just about sums it up. Yeah, it's kind of a a fictional story, but it's laced with what we refer to as truth bombs. Okay, so there's lots and lots of information in there for people who, shall we say, normies, for want of a better word, reading it. Hopefully, it'll provoke them into looking into stuff a little bit more deeply. That was the idea.
Well, I think that's brilliant. And I was talking to Richard Vobes about this the other day because I watched your interview with him and his book about Biggleswick, I think it is.
Biggleswick, yeah.
It's such a great way of getting people in because I mean,
Absolutely.
my view is I interviewed you. We had two shows last year, John, and I talked about
Yeah.
how profoundly powerful the falsification of history was. I mean, it's what, 9, 10 years since you published that?
Believe it or not, it is 13 years.
Whoa. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
of a lad when. Oh no, and that's just and you produced all these factual books, and now you've got together with Andy to produce a. I
yeah,
really, really think it's important and powerful a way of doing this. Do you
yeah.
want to tell us how you two got together first of all?
Yeah, you do this bit, Andy. You're the guy who instigated it. So
Okay, yeah, okay then. Yeah, well, it goes back probably 2 years, Mark. I was in the pub with a pal of mine, and I'd just been watching a couple of videos where one was some adventurers in a boat traveling down from New Zealand to cross the 60th degree south parallel, and the other one was two guys in a twin engine Cessna doing the same. And both aircraft and boat were intercepted by military vessels and turned round. They were stating that they were in contravention of the 1959 Antarctic Treaty, that they were entering forbidden waters and forbidden airspace, and they had to turn round or face the consequences. And I just thought this is ridiculous. 60 degrees south. It's there's 90 degrees south allegedly. So they're not even allowed to see the last 30 degrees. And I thought, well, I wonder what the people who are on board these ships and on these planes that go out to intercept them. I wonder what's in their mind when they do it, and whether they ever get into any conversations with the people that they're intercepting. So I came up with the idea that an RAF pilot with quite a decent pedigree and a good kind of military record gets posted onto one of these Antarctic interceptor forces. Doesn't really know why he's been posted down there, um, and he's sent up to intercept quite a lot of aircraft. Gets into conversations with the people on board the aircraft, and then goes down the rabbit holes himself. It starts to turn the cogs in his own mind, and it sparks his curiosity, and that leads to quite a lot of adventures because he eventually decides to see what's there himself. Yeah, so that's how it came about. So what I did after that meeting in the pub was just basically plot down a synopsis of my ideas. Very, very rough format, kind of in a kind of a screenplay type format. And then when I tried to flesh it out a little bit, I just got completely stuck. I've never written a novel in my life, or in fact any kind of book at all. But by this time, I'd become aware of John's work. I'd listened to him on plenty of podcasts, read a couple of his books, and with him being a Yorkshire lad, I thought, well, maybe he might fancy a bit of a Yorkshire cooperative venture here. So I contacted him through his website, thinking, nah, he's not going to get back to me. He'll have lots on his plate and this, that, and the other. Doesn't want to talk to me about this stupid idea. Came back within half a day, and he absolutely loved the idea. And I explained to John that I'm sure between us we could make something of this. And yeah, 16 months later, I think, having had that conversation with him, we released the book in January. And that's how it came about, Mark. Yep, simple as that.
yeah. If I could just add my sixpenneth as well. Um, I've got a friend in Blackburn. Paul is called. Paul, if you're listening. And he had been saying to me for quite a few years, Mark, he'd been saying, you should write a novel with truth bombs in it. He said that's the way to get people who would just reject anything that they see presented as fact. Get them thinking about something enough that they're going to do the research themselves. And I kind of mulled that over for a while. I kept thinking, yeah, I must do that. It's a good idea. And then Andy's contact with me was quite timely in that for that, and I loved his idea, and we've obviously elaborated on it greatly since the initial kind of venture into it. We had the basic, well, Andy had the basic storyline kind of planned out in his head, but it's developed and developed and developed as you'd expect over the months. Totally, like a very much a 50-50 thing. And yeah, that's the origins of it. That's how it came about.
Well, as a former student RAF pilot, I look forward to getting my dibs into that. And most of my audience will be aware of the treaty that you talked about there, but also Admiral Bird's 1946, I think it was, or 47, 8 Operation High Jump, and the ships and New Schwabiland and all of that kind, and and the total mystery and the pyramids and the Greenlands and the underground, all of that. Is all that stuff in this book?
Yeah, not most of it. Yeah,
Most of it,
absolutely. Yeah. And much more besides. It's a very compelling story. I mean, we've had some very, very positive reviews. In fact, I don't think we've had a bad one. And everybody says it's a real page turner. How much they've enjoyed reading it. A few people have said they stayed up all night because they couldn't put it down. So it's quite intriguing because we weave a lot of into the facts. We weave a lot, into the fiction. We weave a lot of facts. And there's also, we did some research about various different personnel. So, Amelia Earhart, the 1930s American flyer, she comes into it because, strangely enough, well, it might not be strange to some people, but she was a big... Huh?
She disappeared and nobody knows where. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah, but she was a big buddy of Admiral Bird's.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there are other factual characters that come into it as well. I won't give the game away too much, but yeah, the whole it's done in kind of present day, but with flashbacks as well. So it goes back in time and back to present day and so on. And that's how it's kind of constructed.
This sounds like the movie we should be watching as well.
Everybody says that. They say this should be a film. Honestly, it should. And funnily enough, we did actually get contacted by a mainstream independent TV producer, and he wanted to make it, but at the end of the day, because a very long story short, we were disappointed to discover that there was no budget for it at the end of the day. But not totally surprising, but there you go.
Yeah,
very, very much what happened to me with my Titanic novel as well. If I don't remember. Not surprising, but disappointing. But you never know. You never know who's watching and listening to these things and what might come of it. But yeah, it's certainly make a compelling movie, although it would need a bloody big budget.
They would need a big budget. They would.
Well, I think there's a lot of it's interesting to see what's going on with Hollywood at the moment. There's going to be a lot of shifts and changes going on there. So you never know.
You never know.
No.
But in the meantime, I just want to celebrate this format because, of course, I said in the introduction, which you didn't see, that the publishing world and the movie world and the media world, we all know this, have been using similar tactics to brainwash and mind control and rewrite history. So that's why I think it's so important we flip it back the other way.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, how do you actually write a book between two people not in the same room?
Well, we obviously kept in very close collaboration. We would just speak for hours on the phone and throw ideas backwards and forwards. Then we'd kind of apportion it out. Andy writes this bit, I write that bit, and then we kind of come together at the end of that section and tie it all together. I thought it'd be more difficult than it actually was, but I'd done it before actually with Welcome to the Masquerade, Shannon Rowan. We'd done it before, but we did it a little bit differently because she lives in the bloody wilds of North America somewhere without an internet connection. But yeah, me and Andy were able to keep in contact on a daily basis and just really keep it, send. We were very careful with the admin side of it in terms of this is version 1.8, this is version 2. Whatever, So every time we made changes, we kind of annotated the versions so we didn't get mixed up, passed it back over email. So it wasn't that difficult, actually. It worked very well.
Yeah, it did. It was a lot easier than I thought, for sure. I mean, it was slow progress to start with because it was something that was completely new to me. I mean, John, I think, novelized the first couple of chapters of my screenplay and said, this is kind of the way to do it. Yeah. Obviously it's his style rather than my style, but this is how I would approach it. You take take over and do chapters 3, 4, and 5 and see how you get on.
Mm.
So I disappeared for a while, didn't I, John? And it all went quiet. And I did chapters 3, 4, and 5. Sent them back to John. John went, well, yeah, okay, not too bad, but let's, yeah.
I'm a hard taskmaster, aren't I?
Yeah, maybe 6.5 out of 10 or something like that. But with John's kind of guidance and tutelage, I managed to get myself up to speed. I think fairly quickly.
Yeah,
and once,
don't do yourself down. I thought,
yeah,
it was good. Yeah,
and once we got beyond probably third of the way through, towards half the way through, we were cooking on gas, really, weren't we, John? And moved it forward really quickly. So we're planning a sequel, Mark, as well. So it is a story to be continued, and we're hoping that we can maybe get that one done in 6 months rather than a year.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, of course, it helps you both speak Yorkshire, which
Yes, it does.
shorten things.
Yeah,
Communication.
does help.
Yeah.
But Andy, we know a lot about John, but you looks like you're a musician. Is that right?
Well, I'm a wannabe. I'm a blagger. Most things that I do in life, Mark, I kind of blag my way through. So yeah, I do. I mean, I love music and I like playing the guitar and I like singing. And I learned to play the guitar in about 2001, 2002. And by the October of 2002, I was in a covers band playing in pubs. And because I knew by that time I'd learnt 9 chords. So I was, I thought that were good enough.
That covers just about every popular song there is, isn't it?
Just about, yeah. And in the years since then, I've learnt another 4 chords. So So I do like playing guitar, and my background is similar to John's. Actually, I worked in mainstream IT for the best part of 30 years. I was a software developer. Fell out with the corporate world during the early part of the 2000s, and by 2009, I just completely had enough of it. My wife, by this time, had built up quite a nice little secure business, photography business. So we decided to branch into doing schools and preschools. So I joined her. I don't do the photography. She does all the creative stuff. I just do the boring, the editing and customer liaison and all of that. So we've been self-employed, independent since 2009. And yeah, I would consider up until the start of 2020, I was relatively, I think my eyes were open to a lot of things that were going on in the world. I mean, 9/11, even on the day itself, an interest of mine throughout my entire life has been aviation, which I hope comes through in the book, actually. I've always been keen on flying and aviation and aircraft. And when I saw this Boeing 767 or whatever it was, 57, slice through a concrete, steel and reinforced glass building like a knife going through butter, I thought that would not happen. That just does not happen. So I was awake to 9/11. I'd already been made aware by a friend of mine in the 1990s that man never went to the moon. And by probably 2017, 2018, I'd done lots and lots of research on that, and I was convinced about that. But relatively, I still thought that maybe governments had our best interests at heart, and even though there were buffoons and bungling idiots and narcissists and this, that, and the other, I still thought that they're basically decent people. 2020 changed all that. 2020 changed all that completely. And fortunately, both myself and my wife smelt a rat very early in the piece.
Good.
And I would say by the end of April, early May 2020, we just knew the whole thing was a complete psyop. And since then, my life has just completely changed tack, completely. I'm an utterly different person to what I was before 2020. And even though there's been some incredibly difficult times since then, I'm glad I am a different person, because I think I've found something different, both with the people I now mix with and within myself. I'm happy with myself.
Brilliant. That is
Yeah.
Well, you can't unknow things, can you? Once you know them, it's just
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So that's a little bit of my background. I live in the middle of Yorkshire. I live 80 miles away from John. He lives in the coast. I live in the just on the edge of the Yorkshire Dales National Park, in a place called Addingham. I live here with my wife Karen. She's still a photographer, although we've kind of scaled the business down now and. Not exactly going to retire, but yeah, we're just taking it easy and chilling a bit more than we used to do. I've got two grown-up children and 4 grandchildren. So yeah, that's me.
brilliant. Well, that's really good to hear because everybody's waking up journey is different, they all have these. The theme that I love about that is that you feel you've gone through the pain of it and found peace and like yourself more, and I love that story.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, I like the story now, but if you'd have asked me in 2021, going into 2022, whether I like the story, it would have been a different answer.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
painful.
Yeah, it was very painful and very traumatic. I mean, yeah, I think we're all suffering we've still got traces of PSD, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
PTSD, sorry, PTSD, should I say? Yeah, yeah.
Well, at least you had people that you could actually turn to relate to during that
Oh, wow,
process.
yeah.
Think about poor old me in 1997. I
Yeah.
didn't know anybody else that felt the same way as I did about things, and I just, it nearly killed me, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying poor me, but
Yeah.
it was a totally different time then. The world wasn't even close to waking up then. I just felt so isolated. It was just untrue.
Yeah.
It's a very common story, but the books brought you together.
Yeah.
See the beauty of that. This is why the books are so important. That's why I've just got this proof copy here of one of my books, the paperback version of this. And I was telling people at the beginning how important they are because they're such a big. As you were talking, Andy, I was thinking there was when you said about you still believe that some politicians were good.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two creep through just to give them credibility as a species. But the first book that came to mind for me then, I don't know if you ever read this, John, was called The Confederacy of Dunces. Do you remember when that came out? About 15.
No, I don't know that one.
It's just a good example. If anybody watching this has never read that book, go and read it because they're constantly putting these books out. I mean, it's like the biography of Barack Obama when he became. They always do that. This bullshit biography that paints this picture. Dreamt my father. Utter bollocks, right? They sell millions of copies and then they get paid hundreds of millions for these books that sell, which is child trafficking money. I mean, it is a massive part of the information war because and the reason why books are so important is it's not even the amount of people that read them, it's that there's a certain section of society that reads them. And this is what Radio 4 exists in the BBC's mind control army because they get the intellectuals that write and read the books, they review and read their own books. Then they put that out. Then that gets quoted by the media. And then before you know it, people like my mum who've never read them have these ideas in their head.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? It's it's just a circular process basically that they actually imbue these ideas into people's minds who then pass it on in a different way in other ways. They write a book about something and pass it on, and so it just self-perpetuating. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
And of course the Lucius Press just came to mind, and that was actually originally called the Lucifer Press, wasn't it, back in the 30s?
Yeah.
And I think all these publishing companies, even the big spiritual publishing companies, the big spiritual self-help publishing companies came out pro-COVID. And entire markets were just, washed. So I think it's so important that you're doing it. Apart from a rollicking good read, if somebody, let's say my mum reads this book, what she might do. She might do because it's a novel. That's actually, she won't read the...
That's the idea,
yeah. So if I give it, I'm gonna buy it for my mum, right? And I'm gonna get her to review it. That'll be fun, right?
Yeah.
What is it you want her to take away from it? What are the key things that you want her to be taken away from the book.
Well, I can kind of give you a little bit of insight on that one, Mark, because I was telling John the other week, one of my buddies, Steve, he's not really on my page on most things really, but he's a good friend, and he was really keen on reading the book very early in the piece. So he basically got the first edition, and he read it, said he couldn't put it down, and then when he came to see me after he finished it, he basically said what a fantastic story it was, a real page turner, but he felt uncomfortable about one thing. And what he felt uncomfortable was the journey beyond the ice wall and beyond the realm that we are aware of. He said he would have felt a lot more comfortable if it had been a portal. Yeah. So he said, because that would have been fantasy and I would have felt more comfortable with that. He said, I didn't really like, because the way that we've like plotted out the journeys of the various characters, that the actual physicality of the journeys that they make is totally believable. It's the physical journeys. They don't go through any strange portals. And I'm not saying portals don't exist. I'm not saying that, Mark. I'm not saying that at all. But they've got no place in our story. I mean, I said to him, portals are in so many books. I mean, the first portals I ever remember as a child was reading the Narnia Chronicles by C.S. Lewis.
Yeah.
And that series of books I found absolutely captivating. I must have read them 10 or more times during my childhood and my adolescence. But I said, look, and then you've got his Dark Materials series and all of these kind of books. And I said, didn't want portals. I wanted physical travel. Be it by foot, by boat, by air, or by train, whatever means.
But that's the whole point, isn't it? Because this is a real place that they've gone to. It, in many ways, you could argue that it's a real place. We don't know for sure, but it is a real place. If you start bringing portals into the equation, that turns it into a total fantasy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But to answer Mark's point about what will his mum or people like his mum get from it? Well, what we hope to get from it is to open their eyes into other possibilities. That's the basic idea.
Yeah.
Don't have I don't know what your mum's like, Mark, but I mean, has she got an inquisitive, open mind, or no?
Well,
okay.
She's had me as a son for 56 years, so
right.
She gets pushed.
And
then she flips back because she's got the BBC on top volume all day.
I'm going to say, is she a Radio 4 listener?
Not Radio 4, no. BBC.
No. Okay. BBC One, right, yeah. So
it will come in.
Yeah, it'll be a bit of a conflict for her if she likes watching Attenborough.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, good. On Frozen Earth or whatever.
He's still alive.
Whatever. I have no idea.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Is he right? Okay.
I'm sure he's died about 3 times.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well,
sorry, go on, Andy.
Yeah, so I think another one of my friends, Mick, he gave a review, and he said it was incredibly thought-provoking.
Good.
Yeah, and he said making him think about subjects that he previously thought were taboo.
Good.
Yeah, including the shape and size and extent of our realm.
Yeah,
because we
don't specify what we've had done other podcasts where it's turned into a flat Earth versus a globe Earth discussion. I mean, obviously that's what not what we intended. I mean, we don't care whether it's flat or a globe in that sense. I mean, I do care per se, because what does that say about the reality if it is flat? Well, I don't know for sure, but I suspect it might be something along those lines. But that's by the by. That's irrelevant. What I didn't want the book to turn into was a flat versus globe conspiracy book, and it's not that. It's actually the characters actually don't know themselves yet, because we've not gone far enough down the full story. We're only like on chapter 1, if you like, but they actually question that themselves. And that's what I want other people to do. I want other people to question: is it flat? Is it the globe? Because one of the characters actually says at one point, it's possible that the globe is that the Earth is a globe, but it's much, much bigger than we're led to believe. And all this place where they've gone to is just part of a bigger globe, because there's a map. I don't know if you're aware of this map, Mark, that hangs in the lobby of the UN building in New York. Have you ever seen that map?
The flat
It's a flat map, but it's not just a flat map. Well, I think Andy's just digging it out now. Right? I don't know if you're able to see that or not. But what, it's not that clear. But what if you imagine our bit of the Earth being like that?
Yeah.
Then this map shows a whole area, much, much bigger, with dozens and dozens of other continents and oceans outside the ice wall.
Yeah.
So maybe that's true. Maybe that's just been hidden in plain sight, and it's the real truth. We don't know. Maybe it's just a double bluff. Yeah. But the point is that we don't actually specify whether we believe it's flat or globe, because I don't think that's relevant. It's just that there is another place that they're not letting us go to, however that may exist.
Well, that's the obvious thing. I mean, and there's so many mysteries associated with it. I know that you will have researched it to the nth degree, because I know you're that kind of guy. But what things that pop into my head are things like John Kerry flying to Antarctica the day of the 2016 American election, things like that. And the head of the Russian church went at the same time, and it's like, what were they doing? I mean, you've researched this, John. What were they doing there?
What were they? Well, I know what they were doing. They're protecting the penguins, mate. That's what they were doing.
Sorry to interrupt the show, but I'm here in my car on a beautiful sunny day in lovely Ireland, and I just wanted to say to regular viewers of my show, you'll know that over the last 5 years I've tested probably over 1,000 different health products and modalities to try to get us through the COVID psyop, but also to help us enhance our longevity towards health sovereignty. Now, out of all the things that I've tested, there are a number of things that I use on a daily basis, and for the last 3 years, you will never see me without one of these on the back of my neck. I can't actually, if you can see it there, it's on the back of my neck. This is a Lifewave X39 patch. Well, this is actually not a patch. This is the sleeve that it comes in. This is an X39 patch, okay? This thing, you just stick on the back of your neck, and what it does is it reflects the light coming from inside your body back inside your body. So it reflects the light coming out of you back into you, but at a frequency that achieves a certain thing. They have a large range of patches that do different things, from helping you sleep better to helping you recover from pain or from exercise pain. This one in particular, the X39, is my standard thing that I wear every day, and the reason for that is because this stimulates the production inside your body of copper peptides, and copper peptides in turn stimulate stem cells. Now, I am 56 this year, and I've got more energy than my teenage kids who I'm on the way to pick up. Why is that? Well, structured clean water is part of that. A mainly carnivore diet is part of that. I do have access to things like hyperbaric oxygen and red light therapy at our healing center at live5dhealth.com, but actually I don't use them very often because I'm a workaholic. But these patches have not left my neck since I first discovered them in 2022. And I am convinced that my eyesight is better, my teeth are stronger, my arthritis has disappeared, my hair is thicker and longer. Look, there's a ponytail here. Sex drive is better. So many things are better, and I'm convinced it's because of these. If you're not convinced by me, go to theMarkAttwoodShow.com and search under Lifewave or stem cells. You'll see that I've done numerous interviews with numerous people giving their testimonies about Lifewave patches from all over the world. So go and have a look at those if you're not convinced. I'm going to put some QR codes on the screen. One is for the Lifewave patches themselves, which you can go and get online immediately. They are not the cheapest thing in the world. I do think they're actually less than a cup of coffee a day if you wore one a day, but and I understand that doesn't stretch everybody's budget, but they also represent an amazing sovereign business opportunity. You can get paid for recommending these. If you try the patches and you sign up to the other QR code, which is the business opportunity page, that will put you in touch with Cheryl. Cheryl works with me in the States, and she will talk you through the process and show you how to do it. All you've got to do is share a link and give your testimony. This is the way we bypass Google, we bypass press, national TV, mainstream media, to grow this business, which is currently $1 billion business. It has grown leaps and bounds since 2020 because of the need of people like us who are awake, who want to sustain themselves and get through this time period so that we can get through to ascension in one piece. That's what it's all about. Freeze the video if you need to get onto the QR codes. Go to those links now. That's all for now. I hope you enjoy this message and you enjoy Lifewave, and I'll see you soon. Enjoy the show. Back to me in the studio.
We don't know, but like, again, we're speculating in the book. I mean, I don't think I'm giving too much away when I tell you this little bit. When they actually get beyond the ice wall, beyond the South Pole, they reach a place, as Admiral Bird said, which is green, forested. You know, life is abundant there. And what was I going to say? Yeah, oh yeah, and it comes across a visitor's book in this visitor's book in this this landing strip, this air base, whatever it is, where he lands his plane, and it's full of names of famous people throughout the decades, and you know, not the centuries, but the decades, from the 1930s, from the Nazis in the 1930s, up to present day, and we just list all these people and all the comments they're making, and again, it's just opening people's eyes as to the possibilities.
Yeah, well, that's brilliant, because I've read the I don't know if it was the diaries that I read, but it was it's been a while since I've looked into Admiral Bird, but yeah, he said he met people there, and the plane was, they took control of the plane, landed it, had this meeting. That I don't want you to spoil the book in any way, but you know, that kind of thing being in there is recorded. You know, it's like and there's the story, of course, of Bird being hightailing it back via South America up because of the ships that were coming out of the water, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want you to spoil the book if they're in the book, if they're not in the book. But what's your theory on all of that? How much credence do you give all of that?
I mean, to be honest, Mark, I mean, I know it's a very popular idea, this about Admiral Bird's diary and stuff, but there's no proof that it's legit. But nevertheless, I mean, it makes for a good story, obviously. But I tend to think that those diaries are fake, personally, because they weren't published till after his death. Well, maybe you could argue that that's for obvious reasons, but apparently it was his son that did it, and I suspect there was a bit of, profiteering in that, maybe. I don't know, sensationalism,
but also off track.
Yeah. Personally, I don't think his diary is real, but his TV interview certainly was, and his newspaper interview in Chile, was it?
Chile,
that was definitely real, and there's plenty enough information in there to substantiate the fact that there is something going on there that we're not being made aware of for whatever reason, and we don't know what it is.
Well, there's John. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, and with regard to Richard E. Bird and John's earlier comment to say that he was good friends with Amelia Earhart, and they had a lot of conversations during the mid 1930s. Earhart went missing in 1937, and interestingly enough, Admiral Bird was invited by the Germans in the 30s to help them with Operation New Schwabenland. So their initial forage into Antarctica as part of that operation had certainly, I don't know whether it had peaceful intentions totally, but they wanted it to be collaborative with the Americans. Now, Bird actually turned them down, whether he did that as a personal decision or he was told to turn them down, but he turned them down. They went ahead, annexed Queen Maud Land, named it New Schwabenland. But he was also, as I say, he was good friends with Amelia Earhart, and he was also good friends with John F. Kennedy. Yeah, which is
before John F. Kennedy became famous, by the way.
Well before. Yeah. And so that there were quite a lot of links. And one of the things that Amelia Earhart said to Richard Bird was she had strong suspicions that the geography and the topography of our realm was not as it was portrayed in the official narrative.
Because she actually said that she, using Mercator's map and the normal navigation maps that you use when you're flying. She said it sent her miles and miles off course.
Yeah.
So she ended up using Gleason's map, which is basically a flat Earth map.
There.
That one, yeah.
That one there.
Oh, that one there, yeah.
That one there. You see
Yeah.
that? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Gleason's world map. And she said that one of the aftermaths, or her intention, if she did succeed in circumnavigating the world, was to learn the true topography and layout, and then publicize it and make the world aware of that, because she just felt that we were being deceived to whatever level. So that was one of her aims, post a successful circumnavigation of the world. But she never got back. She was 3 stages from the end. She departed somewhere in Papua New Guinea, and was never seen again. Her last comments on the radio broadcast or her radio transmissions were, "We are running north to south. North south. We are running north south." Whatever she meant by that, I'm not sure, but it just seemed curious. Just seems
very
curious.
weird, because it was an east-west navigation, wasn't it?
Yeah, west to east, John. West to east.
Yeah, okay.
West to east. Yeah. She was just starting to head back northeast from Lady on her way back across the Pacific back to, I think, California. I think, John, was she going back to LA?
Yeah.
Via Hawaii and some other islands. And then it was, "We are running north south." And then that was it. Disappeared. So, yeah. But the fact that she was good buddies with Richard Bird, just gave me a lot of food for thought.
It's amazing. I mean, it's like bringing lots of historical puzzle pieces together, weaving it in with all the,
Yeah. We also did a few little flashbacks on the Scott expedition as well, Scott of the Antarctic. So that appears quite prominently in the book as well as flashbacks. And we've got an interesting little story about that, haven't we?
You can't tell me everything, obviously, because you won't be.
No.
But what was there? Was there something suspect about Scott's expedition that you can tell us about without giving anything away in the book?
I just think it was. If you think about the Titanic, I know wasn't actually intrinsically connected to the Titanic story, even though the two things were only 2 weeks apart. The death of Scott and the Titanic are only 2 weeks apart, but that's not a connection in itself. But the connection in my mind is that they are both extremely melodramatic stories, as though they've been written for public consumption and to make people lap them up in some way. The Titanic thing, it was the classical story, good versus evil, rich versus poor, tragedy, drama, love, it was all those things that make up a classic novel. And it was similar with Scott of the Antarctic. They went on this 2,000-mile return trip, and they failed just 11 miles from safety, and it's all this melodrama that's attached to it, and the pathos and everything. And it's a damn good story, when you watch the film Scott of the Antarctic with John Mills and all the crew.
I was going to say, John Mills in work for years, that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So there's no connection in a sense, but there's a connection in the fact that they're very similar stories in the way that they are constructed to kind of make them stick in people's heads.
But they use the hero's journey, don't they? Have you used that in this book?
In what sense? Sorry.
The hero's journey.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely, definitely, yeah.
Joseph Campbell, hero with 1,000 faces. That's
yeah.
There's a theory that is what's going on with us on a cellular level. Right. Our own lives are a hero's journey. The universe is going. The 26,000 year Mayan cycle is a hero's journey in and of itself, and we're in the final act at the moment when all things seem desperate, like Luke's targeting system's not working on the Death Star, and then he uses the Force and everyth's all right.
Yeah.
I think we're all hoping for.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. But I mean, obviously, the book is complete in itself. It's it's kind of a discrete story in itself, but there is going to be a sequel to it.
You say there were going to be 4 of them.
Four or more.
Four or more.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Great.
there's four definitely in the pipe.
Yeah.
Even though they're only in this pipe up here.
So it's a Douglas Adams said it's a trilogy in 4 parts.
That's it. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It may have become a trilogy in 6 parts, actually, couldn't
Brilliant.
it?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, may well do. Yeah. When we look at all the ideas we've jotted down.
You're not going to kill off your main character though, because I think as an audience, like I talk about James Bond, I have done in the past because Ian Fleming, I think, was part of something deep and dark, and that's why 007 was what's his name's
John D.
John D's way signed letters to Queen Elizabeth, and that's how I lost my last YouTube channel, by talking about the connection between but James Bond as a character, right, which I'm not allowed to watch anymore, but if I did that, as a society, we love having these heroic characters, in stories. And it's great fun, especially if it's coming from the right place. So I hope, have you kept this pilot alive?
Well, John, we had a little bit of a battle on this one, didn't we, John? This was one thing we did have a bit of a battle on, because before,
too much,
because originally John wasn't too keen on writing a series of books. You just wanted it to be a standalone novel, didn't you?
It did originally, yeah.
And as part of that, he wanted the main character to potentially be killed off. Yeah. And I'm not saying he doesn't get killed off, but he probably doesn't.
No. And he is like your archetypal kind of hero, young RAF pilot.
We need them.
Absolutely.
We need heroes.
Part
of who we are. We need heroes.
Yeah. So I mean, there is death and mayhem in the book. There's violence. There's air battles. There's the whole host of adventures and intrigues, and some people don't come out of the book too healthily, do they, John? But the main character is still intact at the end. Yeah. Adam has lived to fight another day. Yeah.
Adam, very significant, isn't it? Adam, the first man. The allegory.
Yeah.
Tell us more, John.
Well, no, it's
read the book.
Read the book. Yeah.
But the other thing that's coming across is that you two have really enjoyed doing this, haven't you?
Oh, brilliantly, yeah.
Immensely, immensely.
Yeah, it's been the best roller coaster ride ever for me. It's been fantastic, really has. It's just been a blast, hasn't it, John? Just really enjoyed it. As we said earlier, I kind of concentrated mainly on the story, and then John did a lot of the flashbacks. My wife Karen read the book and she loved the Captain Scott thread. She absolutely loved that, because she said it was she couldn't wait to read the next part. But it's spread across the book. So, she said, sometimes I wanted to get to the next Captain Scott bit, and she really enjoyed that part of it. So John kind of did, a lot of the more historical stuff. But I was really struggling with how to kind of end the book. A finale, a fitting finale for this adventure, and I was quite worried, really, because I was struggling. And John,
we did have a discussion, didn't we? And I suggested that it has to be something really dramatic at the end.
Yeah, and I agreed, and I said, well, I don't know how to do that, John. I haven't really got that in my head at the moment. So John did the finale. And it's crash bang wallet, fantastic, really good, really good, really good.
Yeah, but there's so many good parts to the story of you two writing it, like the fact that you reached out to John and you thought he wouldn't answer, and he did. But then you're collaborating, and then you got all this passion and enthusiasm for true history coming in, a boy's own adventure, and as you talk about it, I'm just seeing it. It's so obviously a film. I'm going to predict it's definitely going to get made into a movie.
Well, let's hope so.
Let's hope so. I mean, it would be amazing. It would be an amazing film or a TV series. It would be. I mean, it just would be really, really watchable.
Let's make it into a film, because I want to get back in the cinema, because I'm sick of sitting in front of a box.
I
was saying last night, because I want to come out of the cinema again, punch in the air like we used to. It's just been shit for years.
Yeah. Yeah. Film, book
Yes,
one. You could
absolutely.
you could make a film of book one. They don't even have to wait to book two, do they, John?
No, it isn't, like I
Yeah,
say, it's a discrete story in its own
yeah,
right,
yeah,
but it
yeah,
will have a sequel. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's brilliant to hear. And I told people before you came on where they could get it from Amazon because they're just going to go and search for 60 Degrees South Beyond the Ice Wall by
Yeah.
John Hamer and
Yeah.
Andy Ross. Is this the only place they can get it, or is this the place you want them to get it? I've got them on Amazon.com here. Is it across the world?
Yeah, it's in all Amazon across the world, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also you can get it. You can get signed copies from us on my website, which is
Ah.
falsificationofhistory.co.uk.
Are you still doing that, John? Because you were complaining about all the packaging last year.
Yeah, I don't send abroad anymore. I
Mm.
can't. It's just too much. So many were going missing. It's just impossible,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
I can't even send to Ireland. I get so many. I got so many sent back from Irish customs. It was just crazy.
That's
So
nuts.
it's just UK only. UK, England, Scotland,
What's
Wales,
the, what's the
Northern
address?
Ireland.
What's the web address again?
Falsificationofhistory.co.uk. So you can order signed copies off that. We've also got a website called 60-degrees-south.com. So 60-degrees-south.com. And you can actually send messages through there.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of stuff on there. There's all
Yeah.
the reviews on there. There's a bit about me and Andy. There's a link through to my website, which you can get to my website that way.
Yeah.
What else is there, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, on there, it's just a nice little portal, if you like, for want of a better, phrase. There we
Not
go.
allowed to have
There
a
we
portal,
go.
Andy.
There you go. There you are. So
Yeah.
so we've got a book preview. There's a 3-chapter preview on there, so people can have a read of the preview. If they think it's a load of nonsense, they don't have to buy it. But if they're captivated, then they can click buy the book. And as John says, they can go to his site, or they can go to Amazon, or they can just email us and buy it from us direct. Meet the authors. There you go. Yep, there we are. A little bio for each of us.
Brilliant.
Yep, and there's also to the right of that, Mark, as you can see, the music.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Now, music features quite strongly in the book, and one of John's
It's not an
really
audio book, by the way.
no, it's not as yet, not yet,
Not as yet.
no.
No.
But one of the characters in the book, Dobbo, he's a bit of a budding singer-songwriter. So after he's made quite a big part of his journey, he comes up with a song that he plays at a party. And that song was written for us by Trevor John. I don't know if you've ever interviewed Trevor, Mark.
I've not interviewed him, but I know his name.
Yeah, and he's a good friend of yours, isn't he, John? He's a good friend.
Yeah. If you want me to put you in touch with him, mate, I will do.
Oh, yeah.
And he's
Brilliant.
he's a brilliant bloke, is Trevor, and he's come up with a fantastic song called "There's Something Going On Beyond the Ice Wall." It's as I've said there on the website, it's a thumping good tune. It's catchy and it's funny as well.
Yeah.
And
Brilliant.
another guy that gets a mention in the book is 5 Times August, who's an American musician who he helped keep myself and my wife Karen sane during the darkest days of the 2021 and 2022 with his music. So he gets a mention in there as well. And we've also, for book 2, we've commandeered a song from the Conspiracy Music Guru.
Brilliant.
And he says we can use that as one of Dobbo's compositions in book 2.
See, the film's coming together. You've already got the score.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
also, I've not told John this either, but I'm meeting a guy in a cafe tomorrow who is interested in. He's bought the book and he's loving it, and he's listened to 2 or 3 of the podcasts that we've done speaking about the book, and he's writing a soundtrack for it.
Oh, brilliant.
And I've listened to some of his stuff, and he's a Yorkshire lad as well. He lives in Bradford, and he's writing a soundtrack for it just in case we're snapped up. And I said, yeah, right. If we get snapped up, Mick, I said, if we get snapped up, and John likes your music as much as I do, yeah, we'll push it.
All you need now is a director from Bradford, and you got 4 Yorkshiremen part 2.
I know.
Yeah. When I were a lad.
You were lucky.
Yeah, yeah.
Luxury.
Luxury. Broken glass. Don't get me started on that. That's brilliant. I mean, it's just fantastic, and I'm glad to share this with as many people as possible. And you guys watching it, go and buy the book. Go to the website. I'll put the links below the video. Go and support these guys. Let's get a crowdfunder going and start raising money for a movie. Let's just assume it's going to happen and raise.
Why not?
Why not? Because I think that's what this is all about now, isn't it? We just got to take the creativity by the horns and do our own stuff, because none of that lot are going to be any use to us, are they?
As you said at the beginning, Mark, play them at their own game, really, isn't it?
It's fantastic. I love it. It's such a pleasure to speak to both of you. And so, I mean, the story of how the book came together is, I haven't read the book yet, but it's a great story on its own anyway. So, you know, I really, really appreciate your time today, guys. And thank you for sharing your gifts with the world. And,
well, thank you for having us on. It's been a pleasure as always.
Yeah, enjoyed it. Thank you. Yeah,
it's a great pleasure, and best of luck with it. And come back up when you do part 2. Get in touch with me a bit quicker, and we'll go and have a look. I'm going to order it now, and hopefully it'll get. I want to read it. I really want to read it.
Good man.
Right. Brilliant. Thanks for joining, guys.
Take care.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Are you looking for amazing retreats in Ireland?
Let us help you become the best version of you in a matter of days.
Ireland is a wonderful place to retreat from the world and find some inner peace.
It is a deeply historic and spiritual country, and nothing can inspire the soul more than the stunning west of Ireland.
We have chosen the historic town of Boyle in County Roscommon to build our state-of-the-art clinic, Live 5D Health, nestled along the beautiful Boyle River.
Our centre combines a range of therapies that cannot be found under one roof anywhere else in Ireland.
These therapies need to be experienced on a daily basis over a number of days to truly feel the incredible, powerful effects.
So we have put together a fabulous package for people from across the world who are looking to truly reinvigorate their health and mental well-being. Full details of itineraries, dates and costs can be found when you join our retreats email waiting list on live5dhealth.com. Our total wellness retreats use the stunning Frybrook House, only a 2-minute walk across the bridge from our centre, as your base for a range of daily therapies in our EMF protected and energetically harmonious centre.
Our activities and therapies include a wide range of truly healthy breakfast, lunch and dinner options provided by Frybrook House and Boyle's best chefs, under our strict guidance on the provenance of ingredients and their nutritional value.
A daily morning yoga session,
Red light therapy in the most advanced red light bed in Ireland to activate the mitochondria in your cells, help weight loss, reverse aging, stimulate collagen and relax every cell.
pulsed electromagnetic field therapy to harmonize your electromagnetic field, strengthen your cell walls, and stimulate circulation and healing.
Hyperbaric oxygen therapy or exercise with oxygen therapy to detoxify and feed your cells with this essential healing nutrient on a level you've never experienced before.
A session in our luxury sauna overlooking the Boyle River.
The world's cleanest water steam room. Our water is vigorously cleaned and harmonized with nature.
Immersive light and sound therapies, including the only Roxiva and soundbed combination in Ireland, aided by the only holographic sound system in Ireland. Has to be experienced to be believed.
Quantum healing in our Orinoco healing pod. Profound spiritual experiences await you here, especially if you are an experienced meditator, but also amazing if you are not.
Daily hydrogen and Brown's gas sessions to help your body rejuvenate itself with the fundamental building blocks of the universe.
Provision of clean, structured and mineralized hydrogen water for you to consume throughout the retreat, with the inclusion of a hamper containing our best supplements.
A final night dinner with our founders, Mark Attwood and Gary Keeley, and the Live 5D team at a stunning Irish castle.
These treatments are all well-established foundations, especially if you are chronically ill,
or just want to enhance your being and give your body and soul the best treat you could possibly give it.
There is a lot of information on our website about all of them, so we do encourage you to look around and do your own research on the benefits before applying to come on a retreat with us.
They are also cumulative. That is, if you experience them over multiple days, the effects are enhanced.
Of course, we're not only offering these incredible therapies on our retreats.
We want you to have a fully immersive Irish experience as we are nestled in and amongst some of the most incredible sacred sites and landscapes on Earth.
Many know of Ireland's mystical past, being connected to Egypt, Atlantis and Lemuria.
And our centre is only a few minutes from the wild Atlantic coast,
Queen Maev's tomb,
the mystical and powerful Carrickeel,
and the caves of Kesh, among many other places of great interest.
We will make excursions to many of these on your visit, as well as a choice from some of these local delights.
A seaweed bath in the coastal town of Inishgrone. Built in 1912, these traditional seaweed baths are famous for their high concentration of iodine, which relieves all sorts of ailments from arthritis to rheumatism.
A seaside sauna and sea swim at Ross's Point. Our sauna is fabulous, but we will also take you to the charming and picturesque town of Ross's Point, where you will be able to swim safely in the sea, set against the spectacular backdrop of Benbulben.
A stunning canoe trip along the rivers of County Sligo. Very gentle exercise where you will see how the rivers of Ireland can be like the rivers of Africa, with the almost guaranteed inclusion of kingfishers.
A flight in a light aircraft across the township of Boyle, where you will experience the local lakes and mountains from a unique perspective.
A boat tour of Lough Key, our local lake which features multiple islands, a castle in the lake frequented by W.B. Yeats, an alleged interdimensional portal, and many tales of UFO sightings. Trips to the local organic markets and farms, a traditional Irish music evening in a thatched pub, a lunch boat tour on the mighty River Shannon. Our retreats run throughout the seasons of the year and are strictly limited in numbers.
So please fill out the form on live5dhealth.com today and get on the waiting list.
Are you spiritually protected? Are you wearing the armor of God? Are you prepared against the principalities of darkness that currently wreak havoc in our world? Spiritual warfare is a very real thing. Weapons of Mass Protection is the explosive and practical 5-star best-selling book from authors Abby Wynn and Mark Attwood, who both agree that humanity is in the midst of the biggest spiritual awakening in human history. If you feel like things ain't what they seem, if you feel you are under attack, get your weapons ready now. Weapons of Mass Protection. Practical tools for spiritual warfare. Out now.
Yeah.
Take care.
All of us.
See you later.
Bye.
Yeah.